Hi, Rita.
So natural.
Hello.
Hello. Shall we talk about what's next for us in terms of our fitness journeys?
Sure, you go.
I go.
Yeah,
Okay. Well, you have something coming up. You should go first.
sure. Cambridge Half.
Yes, the Cambridge Half, the
Yes.
big one, I think, for those of us living in Cambridge.
Mm,
I'm not doing it. You're doing it.
I'm doing it.
How do you
Yeah.
feel about it?
But good. Yeah. I don't really have. I don't know. Pressures. I'm not really bothered.
Mm,
I think it's unless all things go wrong, I
mm,
won't get my weirdly elusive sub 2 hour,
mm.
which I don't think I've ever seemed to have got. Um,
So that's a PB
yeah.
attempt,
Yeah.
sub 2 hours.
um, yeah, I've done it in training, but
Mm,
not for the Cambridge Half. So the
mm-mm.
last one was it was in the bag, and then I was sick. I woke up sick on the day.
Plus, it was so hot
It was
last year.
stupid.
It
Yeah,
was, yeah, I think we talked about it before. Like, hardly anyone got their time for the Cambridge
that was
Half.
awful.
Yeah.
Yes,
So, like,
so I'm
what
looking
was your
forward to it.
best effort for a half marathon
Two
distance?
hours 9
But, like,
seconds.
in training?
Hour 57 or 8
Oh, okay.
or
So, it's
something.
not just sub two, but more like,
Something
I
like that.
guess it's difficult, isn't it? Because um, for maybe those people who haven't done an actual race before, a half marathon race is not a half marathon distance.
Mm,
I think it's important to just kind of take that into consideration because I remember last year when we were running it, well, I was running by myself and you were running on your own because that was my first year of running pretty much and I was super slow. But I remember that I thought I saw the finish line and I have already passed the half marathon
mm,
mark on my watch. And when I started sprinting, thinking that I only have a couple of meters left until the finish, and I reached it, then I realized that that was not the finish, and there was still like another,
mm.
I don't know, like 400 meters to go. So I can't remember what my total distance was. I should probably have looked it up, but it was actually quite a bit over a half marathon. So whatever the time that we get from the race is for the distance of the race, and whatever we get on our Strava is
Mm.
like a half marathon. So that's why there's always a difference between like the race chip time
That's the
and then
thing.
the
That's why
Strava time.
you kind of have to do it on a chip time
Yeah,
because
that's the official
that's the
one.
official one. And as we both know, wearing like different watches,
Mm,
it will throw up
yeah,
different distances and
yeah,
stuff. So, and everyone can take different routes, and
yeah.
over a half marathon, that can make the difference between a few hundred meters.
Especially if you go to the toilet as well, like if the
Mm,
toilets are a bit further, then like that can all add to.
yeah,
But like that's just a side note, I guess.
mm.
So if you get your chip time sub 2 hours, you're happy.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's yeah. I mean, in my head, I'm thinking if I get hour 55,
Mm,
I'll be super happy.
mm-mm,
Um, I've got the base. Like obviously, we just not long finished the marathon,
mm,
so my base training's easily there.
mm-mm.
It's just a case of getting a bit quicker.
You know you got the distance, so it's not
Mm,
really as scary.
yeah, but yeah, I'm not really like I'm just sort of casually taking it in.
Just a casual PB, hopefully.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
because that's not the big goal.
Mm-mm.
So
Yeah.
it's just one that's kind of sat with me each
Mm.
year. That I think I've done it twice now.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm sort of knocking on the door both
Mm.
times. So I kind of would like it now just to kind of
Yeah.
bury it.
Mm.
But yeah,
I guess on the back of the marathon, I was very surprised that in the marathon attempt, I got a PB for my half marathon distance, which is probably not a good sign because it just meant that we were going a little bit too
mm,
fast at the beginning and maybe should have paced ourselves a bit, or well, I should have paced myself a bit better, and then maybe I wouldn't have ended up in cramps. But that really made me think that maybe I should give it a go this year and actually have like a half marathon race that I sign up for where I like do attempt to
mm,
race it and do my best not stop for bees and snacks and whatnot, but actually try to just get it done and see what I've got. But I really didn't enjoy the Cambridge half last year. I'm very, very happy I did it, but it was just a way too busy race for me, and
mm,
I was more frustrated with the experience than like happy to be there.
mm.
So I think I will have to do something that is a bit less overwhelming. So maybe another zigzag run, maybe something like a small race where I
Boundary.
just no, it's too soon. I really didn't want to do anything this close to the marathon. So I think what I'm gonna do is, well, obviously I'm sitting this one out, and then we have an event in April that we'll talk about in a minute, and then maybe sometime between that event in April and our big event in August, as part of my training, I might find a race that suits me timing wise and then just do that. I'm sure in training I can still test it out, but like it would be nice to have like an official race time for my half marathon. I feel like I've that's a good distance for me now that I've done it a fair few times. I feel like that's a distance where I could push myself more without risking like injury or anything in terms of training. But yeah, let's talk about our April adventure.
Yeah, new one.
Yeah,
New one, which we haven't done
something
before.
completely different. There is a bit of running, but it's not all about running. So, do you want to?
Wild hybrid.
Yeah.
With I suppose, with the popularity of the High Roxes and the Athex, this one's a bit different because it's in High Lodge in Thetford.
Yeah, so it's basically a high rocks outside, and all the running is on trails, which is right down like my alley, or I should probably say now that our alley, because you kind of joined me on the trail adventures more than the road running. So yeah, that sounds super exciting. So actually, like the format is very similar to High Rocks, isn't it? That it starts with a run, and then there's a functional exercise station, and then run, exercise, run, exercise. And I think there's 5 exercises, but I'm not. You know what? I actually don't know what the exercises are. So like, let's maybe look it up, because now we are signed up. So maybe we should know.
I think you're right, though.
What we are going to do.
It's not 8 like High Rocks. I think you're right. It's less because there's more running at the end.
Yeah. Okay. So 5 work sessions. So we start with a run. And then we have to do 50 sandbag lunges, I believe alternating between the two of us. And then another kilometer of running. And then 20 dead ball cleans over the shoulder, again alternating between the two of us. And then another kilometer of running. And then 80 meters of sled push and pull. I'm not quite sure. Maybe one has to push, the other has to pull, or one each. I'm not sure. And then running again. And then the fourth station will be 20 double presses with 1 dumbbell only. So it's like a burpee and a dumbbell snatch. And then another kilometer of running. And then the final station is 50 wall balls. And then we have to run 5 kilometers to finish. So that's, I guess, the main difference, that in High Rocks, you do the wall balls, which is your 8th station, and you have done 8 runs already. Yeah. But we have to go back for 1 more run, which is 5 kilometers, but you only have 5 stations. But yeah, that should be fun.
It's just be outside, isn't it? Yeah. It's just nicer. I mean, I did a High Rocks in Berlin, and that was kind of half inside, half outside, and it just makes all the even though it was on an airfield, just being outside makes a big difference for these events. And I think
the trail part adds even more fun.
Much more fun. Yeah, looking forward to it. And we're doing it obviously as a pair.
Yeah, that should be fun. It's actually our first one for something like this. Obviously, we have done a couple runs, like running races together, but this will actually be something where, like, yeah, we might do quite well. Obviously, there's no real pressure on it, at least not from my side, but we are both competitive enough that we are going to train properly for it and then just really go for it on the day and do our best. So yeah, for that reason, I guess we should probably start training now. I can't remember, maybe it's the 11th of April, something like that. So yeah, there's still a bit of time, and it's only 5 exercises and we're training the running anyway, so it really shouldn't be massively technical, but I guess we just have to just do our best to condition ourselves for it, and then yeah, just see how we fare. Yeah. Okay, so that's April, and then, as I said, I might try to find like a half marathon to do before our final big race of the year so far, like that we've signed up for, which is, do you want to say?
Not really, it's scary.
Not really. No, it was super fun. Yeah. I actually feel a lot less scared about that. I feel more exhilarated, I think. That's probably a good word. Then I did about the marathon. The marathon I was dreading. I don't know, maybe because it was just running in loops, or just knowing that it's just gonna have to be the distance, but it's not gonna be particularly like pretty or anything. Like, we have done the route before, so there was not gonna be massive surprises, and there was the surprise of like them changing the route on the day, which just made it worse in my eyes. But this one we also have done partially, but it's been so pretty that I was saying when we were doing it last year that I would love to do this every year, or at least try to do it again. Drum roll. So basically it's the Brecon Beacons ultra marathon, which is over 51 kilometers of running with over 2,000 meters of elevation gain, which I can see how much you're looking forward to after the 660 meters that we did last year in our 24K, running a similar distance. So that was tough for you, wasn't it?
The ascent, that one sharp ascent, this is probably one of the first times ever I genuinely thought this may beat me. I mean, once we got to the top, it was stunning, and the slope, the long sort of downhill was great. I really enjoyed it, but that that uphill was my nemesis. That was that sort of overwhelmed me a little bit. So,
and it was really hard because I remember on the last, I think about 3 kilometers, we were at the bottom of the hills. We were just running back towards the starting point where the finish was, and like you went non-verbal, and I was just saying like, we've got this more to myself than to you, because we knew that we just have to get it done. And I think we ran it, like we ran the whole last bit. I don't remember walking much on it. I think we did really, really brilliantly, but it was a tough race, very, very pretty. But even then, I knew, obviously, when we signed up for that they do a longer one. And I was kind of envisioning it during the race that, like, okay, so could we maybe do the longer one? And I was really just hoping that another year of training will be enough to be able to even just consider doing it. It was necessary, but for, like you do say that for you, the hills were a tough bit. And I have so that was in August last year as well, and I have completed the Switzerland half marathon distance in June. So I was training for that like a mad woman, and that was so much hard work for me, but that was super hilly, and I had to hike a bunch of it because it was very, very hot as well. But when we did Brecon Beacons, it was just not comparable in terms of the difficulty for me. So for me, having to climb that hill felt like, oh yeah, we're just out for a hike, let's just get it done. It felt super straightforward. I could see exactly how far we had to go, and the difficulty wasn't nowhere near as much as Switzerland. So I think for me it was mentally so much easier that physically I didn't struggle nowhere near as much. I really struggled on that long slog at the beginning, which I think was like 10-11K. That was quite rough. Very boring. It wasn't very pretty either. It was on
it's just
gravel
like an access road, wasn't it?
Yeah, and it was just like a steady, like 3-4% gradient, which is just hard enough to fuck you up.
It was a long way, like 11K of the same thing. But
yeah, so I was so happy because basically we got to the end of that, we could already see the hilly bit, and there was an aid station. So we fueled up a bit, went for a wee, and then we knew that, okay, now the fun starts. And for me, that was like really where the race started, because the beginning was just boring. It just needed to get done.
I don't think we thought we would get that. We were like, oh, Brecon Beacons, it's going to be very pretty. And then the first kind of hour and a bit, we were like, oh, can't really see it. But we're rewarded after by tenfold. So.
And this time around, we are going to have to do about 3.5 times as much elevation gain and more than twice the distance. So I'm sure we are going to have a bunch of time to take in the views, because we are going to spend plenty of time going uphill and downhill and uphill and downhill and uphill again. I think there's going to be 3 peaks, but I will find the map.
I have to take this one very seriously.
So you got some running poles.
Yes.
I had mine already, and then we kind of ended up sharing because they were very
much
useful.
needed, yeah.
So for all the incline bits, and I think in probably this ultra, for all the downwards bits as well, it will be useful if our legs are starting to give up, just to help our knees. So yeah, I guess we can talk about how we are training for it and what we are focusing on specifically in another episode. I'm really, really looking forward to it, because I think I mentioned it last year that I will probably just skip the marathon distance and I will go straight for an ultra. And then I only really ended up running the marathon distance because in the zigzag, 38K wouldn't have been a full lap. So let's just do the marathon. But I just kind of had this massive, massive goal pretty much as soon as I have completed Switzerland, that I just want to do an ultra. So if it's gonna be the first one and the last one, that's fine. But I just really want to be able to say that we've run an ultra. That just sounds so cool. It'll be horrible. I think we are just signing up for this race is not so much because we enjoy the racing. It's just quite cool to be able to say that, like, oh, we've run a marathon, we've run an ultra marathon.
It's nice to see what your body can do when you push yourself. You don't need to prove anything, but it's like a
I think that's the thing you need to prove to yourself.
The intrinsic value of these sorts of things are kind of what I like, that you know, as you know, every year you get older, but so far every year I get older, and the same with you, like, you seem to be doing more and more and more.
The running definitely is improving. The more we did, the better we get at it. And like just this last weekend at parkrun, I don't want to assume someone's age, but like a 70-80-year-old gentleman was running the parkrun, and he was like running it. Like he just did it. Like, and God knows how many he's done. Maybe he's there every Saturday. We are not. So he might be. And it's like so nice to see how you can just carry on doing it. And then I think, like, especially like in our case in trail running, it really doesn't matter how fast you do it just matters that you did it, because that's an accomplishment on its own. And I think this is what's quite nice about being able to carry on with this sport long term, that there will be a point where just being able to go out for a 5K run is such a massive accomplishment on its own, because people a similar age would not even be able to put their shoes on. So yeah, I think that's the part that is quite like motivating about.
It's what I like about running in general, is that you know, by no means runners build, but not really bothered what I do, as long as I kind of stay super active and I can challenge myself. And running's a nice one that will probably, even if I change the type of sports or activities I do, running will probably be a staple till the end of time, really, because in you, like you say, you see people in their 70s, their 80s still running. And then, like, there's some sports that, you know, you don't really see people above the age of maybe 50 or something doing. And it's like, well, it's because it's the toll on the body is quite great. And I know, obviously, you know, the higher the age bracket, the more the herd thins, but it shows that it's possible to sort of stay super active. And that excites me, because that's really all I'm looking for, is just the ability to stay super active, as active as possible. So
so on that note, I guess just to wrap it up, these are all the events that we have actually signed up for this year. I'm sure we are going to end up finding some other bits here and there, but I think we are on a similar understanding that there is no reason and there is really no logic for us to do more really long events in a year than one or two, because they are so taxing on the body and the central nervous system in general. And the training does take up ages, but like that's just one thing. But then just genuinely the recovery from it, like we have run a marathon closer to my birthday at the beginning of the month, and I only this week feel recovered enough to start running and training properly. Like I felt like I needed to give myself some time both to like just physically feel a little bit better. Like my body was moving fine, but every time I did some activity, whether it was running or CrossFit or even just lifting or walking, I had some weird aches and pains that made me think that like, okay, maybe I just have to be a little bit more patient. Maybe I just have to take it a little bit easier than I thought, because it feels like almost fine, but not quite. Plus, it's nice to be able to get into the position where you are not dreading training, but you're actually looking forward to it because you feel like you can perform well in the sessions. So we have done the marathon, which is one big thing. We have a couple other things, and then the massive one in August, but it's only August, so we'll, I guess, see how we get on after that. And I'm sure there will be some other opportunities to test ourselves towards the end of the year, even if it's something shorter.
Perfect.